Hello and welcome to Web Series. Today I'm going to be teaching you CSS. CSS simply means Cascading Style Sheet. It is also a web language and not a programming language. Now, right here on your screen, you're going to see a short description of what CSS is all about. Now, CSS describes how your HTML element should display on the screen. For example, you want to change the color, you want to move it to the left, you want to take it to the right, you want it to have borders, you want your image to look in a circular format, you want to arrange your website layout, your navigation layout, and so on and so forth. Now, we achieve all of this through the use of CSS. Now, if you look at the second aspect of CSS, they say CSS is used to define styles of your website pages, now including the design, the layout, and variations of display for different devices. So what does that mean? You use CSS to define your layout, how the website should look like, and also how it should fit on different screens. So having known that, the next thing is the CSS syntax. When we talk about CSS syntax, we are talking about how to write the CSS code, the step-by-step process you need to follow. Syntax simply means the language. Now, every language has its method of how users write them. For example, English language, the way you write your English language is different from the way you write your French and language. The different step-by-step process. That's what we mean by what syntax. Now, CSS has rules that govern how it is being written. Now, right here, you are going to see the rules here. You have this green image-like image here, and then we have some write-ups. I'm going to explain them. These are the rules with which users must follow to write a CSS code. Now, the first one there is the selector. Then if you look at it, you have H1. The selector selects the element, the ID, or the class that you want CSS to affect. I'm going to explain ID and class in our subsequent tutorials, but in this one, we are going to look more into this class. We are going to deal more with the element and selector. So now this selector selects the element that you want to affect with the CSS code. And then if you look at, then you have what they call declaration. Here we have double declaration. You can have as many declaration as possible. The declaration has the property and the value. Now if you look at it, the property is specifying the color, the value is what color. Now here, now what does that mean? It says H1, what color should H1 carry? So now here it's saying the color of H1 should be what? Blue. So that means in your write-up, any tag that has H1 is going to be blue in what color. Then here say font size. Font size means the size of your text. That's the meaning of font size. And here it's saying the size of your text should be what? 12 pixels. So it will be as small as what? 12 pixels. So this is how the CSS syntax look like. Now, shortly in this tutorial, I'm going to be showing us how to apply the CSS tutorial. So before then, let us look at the different selectors. We have the element selector, we have the ID selector, we have the class selector. Now for today, in this tutorial right now, we'll be looking at the element selector. Now in other tutorials that I'm going to be posting, we'll deal with the ID and the class word selector. For now, I'm just going to be talking about element selector. Then another thing you need to know is comments. Now in every language they have comments. Comments helps you to explain every block of code that you write. Now the reason is so that in future use, other programmers, other coders can easily look at your code and understand what is was written there, and you too, you can also look at it in the future, and it will make life easier for you. So the next thing is, how do we apply CSS? Now, there are three ways that you can apply CSS. You can either apply CSS using an external style sheet. You can also apply it using internal style sheet or using the inline method. Yeah. So today I'm going to show you how you can use these three different methods with CSS. So now let's get straight to the external style sheet. Now with the external style sheet, you get to write your CSS in an external file or folder itself, and then you only call it in your various pages so that it can affect the elements that you want it to affect. Now you call it using this link, this one that says link rel style sheet type is equal to text slash css, and href will now be a word x.css. X.css is the name of the external file that we created. You can give it your own name. Then the internal style sheet is that method of CSS where you apply it in between the opening and the closing head tag in your page. So we are going to be looking at that too. Then the internal style sheet, you apply it inside your HTML element. So now that I'm saying it this way, you might not understand what I've been saying so far until when you see the actual practical. So let's hit the practical section right away. So now we are going to go straight to our Visual Studio Code, and I'm going to start with external style sheet. So I'm going to create a new file here. I'm going to create a new file, and I'm going to save it as let me give it a name. I will say xt can just be external. I'll say xt.css. Now when you are saving your external file sheet, your external CSS sheet, save it as .css. Now so that the extension will show that yes, you are dealing with CSS file, just like I have done here. So I'm going to save this. So this has been saved as as a CSS file. So I'm going to start writing my CSS code now. Now this one is saying that my paragraph tag, for every paragraph tag that I'm going to use, the text, I'm saying text align should be center. That means it says, what this means is that my text should be at the center. Yeah. So after I've done that, the next thing I will now say is that the color of my text should be let's say the text should be brown. So I've selected brown. I'm going to close this. Then the next thing I will do is simple. I will come over here, and I'm going to write another one for another element, and I will say the header. The header, let me say h2, all h2 tag. This is what all this code should affect all my h2 tag. I'm saying text align should be right. The text align should be what? Right. Text align means where I want my text to be. Do I want it to be at the left? Do I want it to be at the center? Do I want it to be at the right? So and then my color, I want it to be blue. So right now I've written a very simple CSS code in our external style sheet. So having done that, I'm now going to go to my index file, and then I will call this style sheet right here. So for you to call it, you need to write your link. Now your link means you are linking your index page or whatever page you are using, you are linking it to that external file. So I'm going to say rel there. The rel there will now be style. It will now be style slash CSS, and then having done that, the next thing will now be type. The type will now be text slash CSS, and then the next thing you are going to do is href. href will now be the name of the CSS file we created, which is xt.css. So we've done that. Now let's look at it right here. This is exactly what I've been saying. So here is going to be style sheet, then here will be text slash css, here will be your href. By now you should know your what href means. So here is style sheet, sorry, here is going to be style sheet. All right, so here is your text slash css. So this href, this is where you specify your external file that you created. So having done that, with this way now, we have linked this page to our external css style sheet. So in other words, we have also called that external file using this href, and we place the name of the external file there. So now I'm going to write a simple code here. I'm going to write a simple code that says P, which says this is me. P says this is me, so I'm going to close it, and then I'm going to write another simple code that says which code did I use here? H2. Okay, so I'm going to say H2. H2 here is let's say how far. Okay, so I'm going to close my H2. So now this link, this CSS code that I've written here is saying that in my index page, whenever you see the paragraph tag, the text should be aligned to the center, the color should be brown. Then whenever you see my H2 header tag, the text should be aligned to the right and my color should be what? Blue. So I'm going to save this now, everything here. Then I'm going to go to my index file. I will also save the index file. So let's go straight to our web browser there. I'm going to refresh it and let's see how it looks like. So you see the color of the paragraph tag is brown and that of the header tag is blue, and the header tag is at the right and the paragraph tag is at the center. So that is what our code specifies. So having seen that, you've seen how the external style sheet functions. So now most times when you want to develop your website, you can write as many CSS code in your external style sheet depending on how you want it to affect your website. Now a lot of web designers make use of external style sheet. I also make use of external style sheet, but I work more with internal and inline style sheet depending on the duration of the site that I am working on. So next I am going to be showing you how we work with internal style sheet. Now to work with internal style sheet, you start up with what we call the style. In between your head opening and a closing head tag, you say style. After you've done your opening style, you have to close it, so you say slash style. So you say slash what? Style. So we've closed the style. Then in between the opening and the closing style, that's where we write our CSS code. So I'm going to repeat the same thing here. Let's say text align. Text align is saying this one should be center, and our color should be the text color should be green. The text color should be green, and then we've closed that one. Then I'm going to use let me copy this. I'm going to use this same code for our H. This time I'm going to call it H3, and I'll say it should be aligned to the right as well too. Okay, and the color should be aqua. Okay, so the color should be aqua, and then the h3 header tag should be aligned to the right, while the paragraph tag in the center, the color should be green. So now I have written my internal style sheet right here. So I'm going to go to the body of our file, and then I'm going to write our P here. I will say check it out. Check it out. And then I'm going to close it. I'm going to come here and put our H3. Okay. And then I'll say, okay, let's go. And then I'll close the H3. I'm going to save this now. So let's check it out in our web browser. I have affected these elements right here, the H3 and the paragraph tag. So I'm going to go straight to our web browser and let's check it out. So you see, this one is showing green and this one is now showing aqua color. So ladies and gentlemen, this is how to apply your internal style sheet, that is your internal CSS. So having done that, the next one I'm going to be showing you is how to apply your inline CSS. Inline CSS, you apply it inside your HTML element. Now there's one thing you need to know is that no matter the external CSS code you have written and you have also called it in your major program just the way we did, and then maybe you must have using your internal style sheet as well, the inline style sheet supersedes every other style sheet. So now I have written this internal style sheet. If I apply a different inline style sheet here, the language will recognize the inline style sheet first. So it will supersede both your external style sheet and also both your internal style sheet. So let's do that. To apply your inline style sheet, you go straight to the element you want it to affect. You say your style, and then let's say you want the color here to be, let's select any color here, blue violet, and then I'm going to close this, and then let's say I want the text to be aligned. I want it to be aligned left. Remember, in our internal style sheet we said it should be at the center. So now I want it at the left. So I'm going to copy this. I've written the inline style sheet for inline CSS for that of the paragraph. Now I want to do that of the header tag. This one I'm going to say the color should be blue, and then I'm going to say it should be at the center. It should be at the center. I will save it, and after doing that, now let's go and check it out. Now take note, the internal style sheet is still there. It's showing check it out green, and this other one is aqua. Now the inline style sheet is going to supersede it right now. Look, check it out. So this one has gone to the left. We said it's showing blue purple color, and the other one has gone to the center, which is showing blue that says okay, let's go. So ladies and gentlemen, this is how CSS functions. This is how to apply your external style sheet, your internal style sheet, and your inline style sheet. So right here in this tutorial, I've shown you the different method to apply your CSS, and I've also told you that your inline style sheet supersedes both your external and internal style sheet. So it is up to you to define how you want to apply your CSS. But one thing is certain, using the external style sheet makes your website to run faster and easier because it has lesser load, and using more of internal style sheet makes your website to look more heavier. So it depends on you, it depends on the project you are working on, It depends on the duration you are working on, so it will determine which of the CSS method you are going to apply in writing your code. So ladies and gentlemen, this is what CSS is all about, and I hope you've learned something now. In our next tutorial, we are going to be applying CSS in a more different and much more advanced way. But I want you to understand this: CSS is used to beautify websites. So when you see beautiful website, know that they have application of CSS to it. Stay connected right here on Web Series, and thank you for watching.